Well, good morning. It is Sunday, February the 28th, and it's the last day of the month. And Sarah and I are down here at Mount Rainier National Park. We're at Carbon River entrance in the northwest corner of the park. This is one of the wilder, more remote sections of Mount Rainier, and this is called the Carbon River Rainforest. So we are at the trailhead that sits within the Carbon River drainage, and we are going to hike up the abandoned Carbon River Road all the way up to Ipsec Creek. The road has been washed out, and a lot of the structures here in this region have been decommissioned because of continued river drainage and river flooding that is eating away at the road and more turning it into a trail. It is an ancient and primeval rainforest. It's one of the best ones that Mount Rainier has, and the whole trip is around 10 miles to Ipsut Creek campground and back. It's also an avenue for other bigger adventures that go into Mount Rainier, and it's just the beginning of the wilderness. So enjoy. Here we go. So over there is the Carbon River, and you can see what I mean by continued washouts. This is new. We didn't get to come up here at all last winter because of the flooding that was going on, but you can see the road over here, and this whole washout here is new this year. And more the trailhead just keeps getting pushed back, and the hike gets a little bit longer, which is okay. So that is the now decommissioned Carbon River Ranger Station. And I can remember getting issued my first permit to backpack in Mount Rainier in that tiny little box there that Sarah is standing in front of. It used to be manned and rangered for sure. And talk about lucky. That tree wasn't there last time we were here. And just a few more feet and it would have taken it out. And I guess that's why they've decommissioned it. Those trees there are just wedging, holding it in. Lots of draping moss. There are layers to the forest. There's definitely a canopy. I often wonder about the life that lives up there in the dark. Owls, flying squirrels. All the creatures of the night. So you leave the valley floor and you climb up very steeply from the road on more of a trail. And you come up probably, I don't know, 400 or 500 feet from the valley floor, lots of steps all the way up. And you come to this abandoned mine shaft. I can't remember the name of it, and it doesn't go very far. It's closed off. But the mine shaft is significant because it tells kind of the history, the human story of this region. It's very recent history in terms of, you know, the Pacific Northwest, but it just tells the tale of the first, you know, European explorers that came to this area, were interested in mining for ore and minerals and logs and taking out these big trees. So a lot of extractive boom-bust economies in this region. And, you know, just being in these forests also just kind of makes me think of the people here before, you know, exploration and before quote-unquote discovery. You know, the spirits of ancient people who used to live in these forests always is on my mind, and I find it soothing and comforting knowing that. So you can see the polished and smoothed bedrock that make up the walls of the Carbon Valley. It is granodiorite, a plutonic igneous rock, and the Carbon Glacier during the Ice Age came down and smoothed and buffered it out all the way down here. And we're probably at least 12 to 13 miles still away from Mount Rainier itself. And when I pan out, it's all over the place in here. And I'm sure there's more exposures of it further up the valley, and you wouldn't even know because of all the thick, temperate rainforest growth that has taken over. So here's a look into the mine shaft. The National Park Service has closed it off, and it's dripping wet. There's water on everything. In fact, it's raining, so that's why it's dripping. So this is a look from that gate looking down the mine shaft. And it doesn't go that far from what I can tell, but there's still railing on the floor. And it goes into the granodiorite. And this valley is called Carbon Valley because of the mining that was here, but also because it's very rich in coal deposits from the Puget Group, a geologic layer that used to be a carboniferous forest in the lowlands, and now it's all the way up here. So all these mines are there's lots of mines in the area from that time period of looking for the coal. These people, though, I think were looking for ore of some sort. This is a typical problem hiking the Carbon River Road, is sometimes the whole way is littered with downfall. And it looks like Sarah has found a way through. Here's another exposure of granodiorite bedrock covered with moss. That right there is an exfoliation where a sheet of rock popped off as pressure was relieved off of the top of it. Maybe even glacier plucking. So the rain is coming and going today, and we are slowly making our way up the valley. And the mists and the clouds are giving a nice effect on the sides of the ridges and hillsides. We've reached a point where the snow is deep enough to fill in the river channel, most of it. And usually in the spring, when we're at this spot in the hike, there's a torrent of water coming through here. So every once in a while, after the downfall, it opens up holes in the forest canopy and you get glimpses of the ridges all around you. And there's a lot of snow up there this year, for sure. Plastered. So we are almost to our destination, and the clouds are lifting and there's some sun starting to poke through with some blue sky. Cheney Mountain right there. It's got some cloud gathering and holding in its hollow sides there. There's a look up the Carbon River Valley. Typical glacially carved U shape. And the Carbon Glacier is still another probably 3.5 miles from here, up around that corner there. We have officially arrived at Ipsec Creek, and that is the bridge that has replaced the bridge from continuous washouts. And as you can see, everything has a nice blanket of snow over the top of it. So we are here at the decommissioned Ipsut Creek campground. It is now managed as a backcountry camp. So this is the Ipsec Creek patrol cabin, and it looks like it's finally finished. We've been coming out here for quite a while, and we used to take shelter inside of it when it was under construction through many a storm, rain, sleet, and snow. And around the back side there's actually a nice little lean-to that you can still accomplish that goal. Get out of the weather and have lunch. And that is what we plan on doing, is having lunch right here. You can see here when we walk around the back side of the patrol cabin what the national park has been so gracious to bless us with. And I mean that. This is awesome. Whoa. you're stepping in the snow. Completely waterproof. You can see how much snow is on that roof right there. And a nice dry, calm spot to cook your lunch.
Uh-oh. Trying to make enough for a warm drink as well.
So that trail up there is the Wonderland Trail, and that takes you up to Carbon Glacier or Ipsut Pass. There's a trail junction just a couple hundred feet up there to Ipsut Pass. And we are not going that way today. And just down the trail here, we have Ipsut Falls, our turnaround point. Here we are, we've made it to our turnaround spot at Gibson Falls. We're about 5¼ miles in from the car and a little bit past Ipsec Creek campground. And I'd say the most dangerous part of this hike was the last 100 feet that we walked to get to this spot. There was an icy log that I slipped on and almost went into the creek. And these boulders are pretty icy and snow covered getting up to here, so you gotta watch out. You know, put your foot in a hole and snap an ankle. We've been hiking up here together for almost 10 years, and we both agree that this is probably the most snow that we've seen at this spot ever. We're about 2,700 feet above sea level. Oh wait, it was 2,300 feet above sea level here. We started at 1,750. It's a very good snowpack for the Cascades. And the nostalgia this place gives out is pretty strong. We got a lot of nostalgia in this area.
Our first backpacking trip was up here. We're a little farther than this, but we'll take you there some other time. Both of us came up as kids. My parents brought me up to Ipsec Creek campground in our Volvo 740 Turbo, which was later my first car. Back when the road was still a road, it wasn't washed out yet. We didn't camp. We weren't a camping family, but we came up, we saw the river, it was really gorgeous. And, later I did some other hiking here, scouting groups.
enchanting, moss covered, snow covered. It's a trainer. We've trained a lot up here. We go up to Green Lake, and we camped up at the Carbon Glacier, which is another 3 miles up Wonderland Trail. There's just too much snow to get up there right now. We'll save that for later in the spring. From here, it's a couple hours back to the car. Won't take us that long. Another thing that's kind of interesting is there's some online posts about this campground, Ipsec Creek, and there's actually been a few Bigfoot sightings in this area before. It's been written about, it's in literature. I don't know if it's true or not, but it kind of seems like a place that Bigfoot would lurk. They blend right in with the moss, so.
It's going to be anywhere in Washington. It's going to be one of these thick, dark forests.
Yep. Dark primeval forest, Carbon River. She's been good to us over the years.